Games. We all know them, and we love them. Now, what if it came to the real world? And I'm not quite talking about virtual reality. This is augmented reality, or AR for short. The silver lining of the past years, but is all we see glitter actually gold? Before we jump into the ethics, let's start with the basics. First off, what is AR? AR uses the real world through the camera, overlaying digital imagery over it. This gives an effect of your lovable friends to be with you by your side, but of course only through your phone. Now, what uses AR? A lot of things actually. Games such as Pokemon Go or Monster Hunter Now, and even shut down games like Minecraft Earth. But there's many things you may not normally think about, such as Snapchat with its filters, Amazon and IKEA being able to place virtual furniture in your room, navigation systems like Google Maps, or even military and neurosurgeons having uses for it. Specifically looking at AR games, a majority of them have the player walk around in the real world in order to encounter virtual pals or fight giant monsters. Now, who exactly has ties with AR games? Well, the most obvious are AR game company creators, such as Niantic, who created Pokemon Go and Monster Hunter Now. The user also comes to mind. Can't have a successful game without a player, of course. Small businesses also have a part in the situation. There'll be more on this upcoming. All three of the previously mentioned have some benefits from AR, money for businesses and companies, while the players get entertainment. However, the only one harmed is, ironically, the consumer. Now with that out of the way, let's talk a bit about the ethics of it all. There are three main dilemmas here: health and well-being, integrity and veracity, and tech. More specifically, the tenets being challenged are responsibility and accountability, and integrity and confidentiality. It's time to move on to the nitty-gritty details. Here we will talk about three things: the benefits and risk of AR games, as well as one glaring issue that comes with it that people wouldn't naturally think of. Starting with the benefits, AR games build community and increase mental health. Focusing in on Pokemon Go, the game has a classic friend system, allowing you to trade Pokemon or give gifts from around the world. But most importantly, there are in-game events. Most events, especially those of very strong Pokemon, require more than just yourself to beat. However, there are non-event raids, which can be done alone. This means that the game encourages teaming up, aka building community. Something that also falls into this category are the small businesses, as many are marked on the map with a Pokestop or gym, leading to increased foot traffic and possibly being able to sell some goods to players passing by. On the topic of mental health, the game does what games do: be an anti-stressor. Not only that, but it promotes physical health as well, such as eggs that require walking to hatch, and Pokestops, gyms, and Pokemon themselves need to be hunted for by walking around. Not only does this allow people to connect with the outside, unlike most games, but it also is a change of pace compared to a possible life indoors. But with all that, it does come with risks. Gaming disorder is when any game goes too far. It can act as an addiction of sorts, ironically leading to worse mental health. This need to game takes over the need to do anything else. Important actions such as eating or working can be taken over. It doesn't help that there are obscure yet effective ways of bypassing the need to walk in games, such as hacks. Pokemon Go itself has the incense item, which lures Pokemon to you, and remote raid passes, which allows you to access gym raids from anywhere. Crime and injuries are also a big issue with AR games. The player themselves can walk into dangerous areas and be injured, or in some cases, robbed. There's also been cases of players being lured into traps with Pokemon Go. The player may also take a risk to travel through restricted areas in order to reach something they need. Being distracted is a huge issue here, as it can lead to your injury or the injury of another person. To end this section on an important note, confidentiality. With AR games requiring geolocation, it comes with the risk of what will the companies do with this information. In the best case scenario, these companies would keep this data completely safe under a lock and key. However, it's possible for these companies to hand this information to marketers, questioning the ethicality of them doing this. And with that, we have the base information needed. But if you want to learn more, I've provided links to the sources I used in the description below, as well as citations at the end of the video. There are several solutions that can be brought to the table. There's possibly adding more warnings to AR games, listing what players should look out for. Pokemon Go has these already, specifically aiming to not play in the car. This helps remind players to be more careful. However, it comes with the downside of making the game have an untrustworthy or unsafe nature while being annoying. How about we remove the traveling aspect of it? No. It reduces crime, but it removes the entire point of these games, the physical movement and the community building. In my opinion, the best solution is to push for more awareness to travel together in groups if people plan to play. It creates an overall safer environment, but also builds that community we bring up a lot. The only downside is that it wouldn't work if you were lonely. And with that, that concludes this presentation and video. If you take away anything from this, just make sure to stay safe out there, and have a great day. Thanks, and goodbye. We all know them, and we love them. Now what? Fuck. Oh my Jesus.